of you like to sit down, we've got a few chairs here you go sit in. And there are so many celebrities in the crowd today that the sheriff came to protect us. Sheriff, thank you for being here. We had to have sheriffs protecting here to protect us. Although I know a lot of you, there's some of you I don't know. My name's Rick Rhodes, and I was a Sweetwater High School graduate, class of 1971. And in the halls of Sweetwater High School, I saw a girl that I just thought was beautiful, and I fell in love with her. And next Friday, we celebrate our 50th anniversary. She's probably the most patient, forgiving person in Texas to be married to me for that long. But we had two boys that God blessed us with two boys, and they're Sweetwater High School graduates as well. And Coach Huskerson and Coach Hines and many of the coaches that are here invested in their lives, and they're doing really well. We're just so thankful for all the people in Sweetwater, and what a great gathering it is. Give yourselves a hand. What a great gathering this is. You're going to get an opportunity to meet all the players who are here. At the end, we're going to get each of them to come up, tell you who they are, where they live, and what they're doing now. And one of the first people I ran into when I walked up today was Chris Davis. He came in from San Diego. Chris came in from San Diego today. And I'm sure there's a lot of other stories like that. So we were really, really excited. At this point, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the new superintendent at Sweetwater Independent School District, Dr. Deidre Parrish, and she has really hit the ground running in here. And let's give her and give the school board and give the community a round of applause, because they, a couple weeks ago, passed a $50 million bond election. Congratulations, Dr. Parrish. Thank you so much for your hospitality and for all the things that y'all done to help us today.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Well, welcome. Good afternoon. I am Deidre Parrish, Superintendent of Sweetwater ISD, and it will be a year on June 23rd that I've been here. And it's been a fantastic year with a wonderful community and a wonderful team. So thank you all for being here to celebrate this today. So, first of all, welcome to the Mustang Bowl. Welcome back to the Mustang Bowl. Thank you to the crew that stayed after graduation last night and cleaned it up so that it's nice and pretty and presentable today. So it was a wonderful ceremony if any of you were here for graduation. Thanks, Rusty. I see you back there. Thank you for those that are here at the 1985 team. Thank you for establishing the winning legacy. Our plan is to continue the winning tradition and add more monuments, because we are all Mustangs. So thank you and enjoy your day.
You know, there's only a few times in your lifetime where you can say you really reached the dream came true. And that's truly what we're celebrating today, what we're capturing today, what we're commemorating today is a dream came true for a lot of Mustang players, a lot of Mustang coaches, a lot of Mustang fans, the school district, and the community of Sweetwater. It was just a really, really unique, special time, and truly, especially in the playoffs that year, it was pretty much David versus Goliath. It was pretty much David versus Goliath. I don't think the last two games for sure, we were major underdogs in the last two games, and you're going to meet a group of student athletes today that just exceeded expectations and far outperformed anybody's imagination, and we just had the results of the first ever state championship for football in Sweetwater. So it's going to be a great day. Thankfully, with the help of David Welch and the Mustang Booster Club, and so many of you, we're able to memorialize that today with this beautiful monument. And we're going to ask Coach Steve Freeman to come up. I know he's here somewhere. Where's Coach Freeman? To come up and tell us a little bit about how this develops. Let's give Coach Freeman a hand.
I'll tell you what I'm real excited about right now is that some of these guys didn't even remember my name. But anyway, I was a student teacher in Sweetwater several years ago. As a matter of fact, they asked Mr. Welch and I, and Dan McCoy, and a few others just putting this information together. You know, if it'd been 3 or 4 years later, it'd been a lot easier. But nearly 40 years later, we had to dig a little bit. WT, Coach Stapler, I never called him WT, excuse me for that. Coach Stapler, he argued with me about that Andrew story. He wasn't arguing that it was more, he just thought it was a tighter game than but in that year, and even in '84, when you're dominating, it's just, you're just whipping people, and I got broke in the right way. I tell you this. So I was going to say the other day, Mr. Welch had called me, or I called him. I was in San Antonio at kindergarten graduation. And anyway, I pulled over, and I was at a place, it's called Walk-Ons. Are you guys familiar with Walk-Ons? I mean, I don't know what it is. Is it an okay place to go, or is it, I mean, it's okay. Well, I pulled up in their parking lot so I could just talk to Mr. Welch, and Mr. Welch told me, he said, Steve, he said, I want to just be a dad today. I'm talking about today, because Mr. Welch's name was this slot. But we put in a lot of time, a lot of telephone calls, and then Dan McCoy was just phenomenal right off the bat. And I'd gone through Winters pick up Coach Stapler one day, and we came over and met Mr. Welch and Dan and got things off the ground, and then we started working on the names and renderings and such. And but I want to tell you, I've got a different view on the state championship was great. The period of time it was great. For me, it was great. I was one of probably the luckiest guys in the world, because Coach Stapler said yes. I went over there and said, hey, can I help you guys do my stuff? I need to do senior teaching. I had an ag degree. Came back to Roscoe, our family farm operation and whatnot, and shoot, I was tired of using cottonseed money to buy bread, so I jumped there with it where you like money, a lot of money, so I go to Sweetwater. Coach Stapler, I went in and talked to him because he was like an icon. But I know the story from beginning to end, because I can see this same transition. And, my father-in-law was a coach. Matter of fact, I was a walk-on. He was coaching at Avalon Christian. And I think I had the walk-on mentality my entire life. And so I catch myself over here at Sweetwater, and I was hanging around still in the playoffs and whatnot. Last game I sat in Gordonwood Stadium in the stands I've been at the stadium, played a lot of games there, and coached there for a long time. But the last time that I sat in the stands in Gordonwood Stadium, which was Syntex, was the Tom Ball game. That's the last time I sat in the stands in Brownwood. But and I think about that game every time I go to that stadium, every time. But the walk-on part is, you get there that day, and you got guys over here that are scholarship guys, and freshman guys that are scholarship guys, and and you got over here the guys that are walk-on. Some of them are fresh out of high school, some of them moving in, just trying. You get on the field, you can tell the walk-ons, because these guys over here, defense was always in white shirts, offense over there at ACU were purple. But you can look over here, and the guys over here were in off-white shirts because they were dingy, the walk-ons. So I'm not wearing a white shirt today. It's dingy because I'm still a walk-on. But I'm sitting here looking at Blaine Springston and Blaine and Coach Meyer, Tig and Raw and all these guys, Husky, Mr. Welch, all these guys. This still changed my life. I'm telling you. When I just become a coach, it really changed my life. And the timing of it was perfect. I was coming in from probably about 18 miles out of Roscoe one night, and it was game 10 of 83. We're playing Lakeview, okay? And it didn't work. What happened? Don't mess with my dingy shirt. Mr. Walker, am I not telling the truth, Mike? Well,
Look good.
is that not the truth? No, you weren't a walk-on, though, were you? No, I saw that pumpkin pull up and pick you up, man. Hey, I'm not playing with you. I mean, I am playing with you. Hey, but I pull in and I go by our shop, and then I'm listening to that game. It was a Lakeview game, game 10, and it was a win to get in. Right, Coach Stapler? Blaine is a win to get in. Yeah, was that right? It was a win to get in. And anyway, at the time I had started working, you couldn't just go take an exit exam in and go into coaching. I had to go back and take 44 hours with 3 kids. But the story I'm telling is this. It was making that turn because you got close enough and you realized that you were short, and these kids just, I mean, I was so impressed with the work ethic. 84 comes, and, in the game, you're in there with them, kids at that time, and that's the first step, is get there, and being mixed with those names that didn't, in 85, here it comes. And that's when I talked to Coach Stapler, and Coach Stapler said he'd be glad to have me, and Mr. Gray at high school, and Dr. Daves, and all that worked out. And I'm going to tell this, is Coach Hunt here today?
Yes.
Where's Val? Val, y'all took your class over there, you remember? And on the day that you left was the last day of my student teaching. I don't know if you remember that. Now, you put that together, I left, and then Coach Stapler called me down to the field house, and I got out of class to go down there, and Coach Stapler talked to me about coaching those varsity linebackers. And I'm thinking, wow. So that trip over to Coach Stapler's office that day, and he said, yes, led to, where I am today. I promise you, it changed my life, it changed our family's life. And the city at the time was, declared an all-American city. Y'all remember the celebration that went on downtown, the celebration. And don't ever think that those Mustangs weren't at the top of that list of making this town be more prideful, and people mowing their grass, people buying home cars, whatever it is. But it not only changed, the program, because the program was here to stay. But I just wanted to say that because I'm a walk-on. I wore a non-white shirt today on purpose because, I'm still dingy. And even at that time, when I got in that coach's office and these guys took me in, I love these guys. Blaine set the bar for me because I was, after that, eventually Coach Stapler's right-hand man for some time, and he has reeled me in, including what we're doing right now. He said, what do you think about putting the monument up over there in Sweetwater? I don't know if we could ever get all those things together or not. Well, he just put a rattle trap on to reel me in. But anyway, when Dan McCoy and Mr. Welch, and then I got stuff from David Mays, and I think maybe from Karen, and a lot of people contributed, and then get this thing done, and then I just want to thank you guys. It goes way more than that trophy. I'm just telling you, it's changed y'all's lives too, I'm sure, because y'all can look at your watch every day, and at off-season time, you know what was going on years ago, but I love the Sweetwater Mustangs. I've been in this thing several times as a coach. I've been in it a bunch of times as an opponent, but I was in this stadium a lot with, just playoff games. But I just want y'all to know that story, because as a walk-on, it's way more. It's just way more to me than a monument. And I know it is to a lot of people who tell this story. Everybody got a story. Thank you, Coach. And Kay, thank you, Coach, for saying yes.
Steve, thank you. One of the things you're going to notice throughout the time that we're together is the passion that you see in the people. It was just there's just something about being a member of the Sweetwater Mustangs, and just the way it impacts you and the passion that we have. One of the things that we made a huge impression on back in 1985 was the media, and we're glad that today KTAB and KRBC are here today, kind of covering the event today. So let's give them a hand. Thank you for being here. One of the biggest Mustang fans we had was Gary Strickland. And you remember Gary, he was the sports reporter in Abilene, and he was planning to come today. Gary lives in Arkansas now. He's planning to come, but he had a health issue that popped up the last minute. So he sent me a short letter that he'd like for me to read, and I'm going to do that now. So this is from Gary Strickland. And he said, I cannot tell you how honored I was to be invited to this reunion. In 1985, the Mustangs were favored to win the district championship, and boy, did you ever. You won the district championship. You've heard this before, but there's nothing like entering Mustang Bowl on a Friday night, seeing that sea of red in the stands. In the stadium, you can't see the parking lot, the concession stands, but you can see all the stars on the field. I, like you, have vivid memories of the 1985 run. When December hits, everything gets more exciting and the bar is raised. Playing against that highly ranked Lubbock Estacada in Lubbock looked kind of scary. Your defense gave up a whopping 13 points, because that didn't matter, you scored 31. Then came the semifinals against big city Austin Westlake. They weren't only good, but they were good in every single position. How we remember on that late and freezing Saturday afternoon in Brownwood, Westlake was up by a touchdown. They seemed to be in control. Fourth quarter, I was standing in Sweetwater's end zone. The Mustang offense was way down the field. All of a sudden, Neil Hoover threw a perfect pass to number 83, Bullet Norman, on the dead run. He said, I couldn't help but stop laughing. Here was Anthony Norman running straight at me, and I was laughing because the school in this little bitty West Texas town was going to beat the big bad boys from Westlake. Bobby Atkins came through with the extra point. It's the Mustangs again. The Saturday before Christmas, we all gathered in Fort Worth for the biggest game in school history. All we heard all week long was Tomball's running back, Bubba Greeley. Also, Tomball had the best quarterback in the state, Lance Pavlis. Top-ranked Tomball. I lost count on how many interceptions Mike Welch had in that game. Some said it was 3, some said it was 10. He said, I don't remember, I think it was 3. He said, I have never seen a coach on the sidelines jump as high as Coach Staper did in the closing seconds. Coach, you were very entertaining. 17-7 said it all. After the game, this is funny, he said, Gary Strickland says, after the game, he said, I never again heard Bubba Greeley's name. And he said, and Lance Pavlis, he said, you sent him off to a very mediocre career at Texas A&M. What special times we all had in our lives. He said, I know David Welch is in the crowd with his usual smile. And he said, congratulations to the Sweetwater Mustangs. How about that? Let's give Gary a hand. Thank you, Gary. I had a 30-minute conversation with Ron Howell last week about today, and Ron was not here during the state championship, but obviously he's heard a lot about it, and he's covered a lot of things since then, so I don't know if there's a more loyal Mustang fan than Ron Howell, so we're going to ask Ron to come up and say a couple things. Come on up, Ron.
Like Rick said, I wasn't here in '85. I was over in enemy territory in Brownwood. And which is interesting that here in Illinois State, they played Westlake in Brownwood, and I was aware of that game and knew a little bit about the tie and all that stuff leading up to the state championship. So when I got here 5 years later, the first thing I did was I wanted to catch up on all that other stuff that I hadn't known about. And, you know, just learning about and then once I found out about Bowl and all the history there, I mean, I just kind of fell in love with this place and wanted to find out everything I could about it. And after I'd been here a little while, Stephen Hudson came to me one day at church and said, you know, Ron said, I got something for you that you don't want to do. He said, you know, over the last 10 years, I think this was in '94, you know, the last 10 years, Sweetwater has won more games than any school in Class 4A except for one, which is West Orange Star. And also, Sweetwater has the second best winning percentage the previous 10 years, only the West Orange Star. So I thought, man, that'd be a great thing to work on, but it's going to take a lot of work. So I went and, you know, started researching everything I could out of these old bound books we had there at the recorder. And, you know, found out everything I could about those 84, 85. There was one year in there we didn't make the playoffs in '89, but we were still had a winning team that year. We were 6-4. Found out everything I could about those teams. And then got with Coach Arlen Barnes. He happened to have pictures of every team, 84 through 93. He let me have those to reproduce them for the publication I was working on. It's a 48-page thing called A Decade of Mustang Pride. And came out about before football season that year in '94. And after all that hard work, the head department at the reporter gave me a Mustang red shirt, got a little horse on it. And 29 years later, I'm still wearing that thing anytime there's a cold weather game. It's kind of frayed like this guy here, but I'm still wearing it. And, you know, I was thinking back, you know, most of my life I lived in 3 places. I lived in Sweetwater, grew up basically in Odessa, got my first newspaper job really in Brownwood, lived there for 7 years, met my wife. And I got thinking, you can't think of three, you'd be hard pressed to find three more rabid high school football people than at Odessa, Sweetwater, and Brown. And believe me, I'm a fan as well as a reporter. So it's really been a pleasure. I was going to say, this is one of the few times I've actually been anywhere close to a state championship football game. Really the first time I was a high school senior back in '72, marching in the band, and Permian won the state championship in '72. So I got to see him from the stands. And today's kind of like that too, because I'm around a bunch of UX Mustangs from '85, so it's, I just appreciate the opportunity that Rick David gave me to speak here. Anyway, I'll still be around, so whether you like it or not.
Thank you. Hey, one thing I want to say real quick, I was just thinking while he was talking, I do know the difference between Tomball and Westlake. I think I said Tomball at the semifinal game, but I had to come back over here, Coach, because I see Libby's wife over here and her family. There's no way I could talk about these guys without mentioning Mike Levy, because he was such a great part of my story. So I'm sorry to interrupt.
Thank you. I want to recognize also today Jeff Stein. Jeff, wave everybody. We appreciate KXOX has been following Mustangs for years and years. We live in Austin now. I still listen to them. Harrison Foster was playing. I listened to a lot of the games on KXOX and enjoyed that with Richard and Scott and Steve down the field. And thank y'all, Jeff, for continuing to do that. Wherever you live in the United States, or I guess around the world, you can listen to Mustang football. That's just awesome. So thank you for doing that. Next speaker we have is probably would rate right up there. If they had a Mount Everest for Mustang football fans, it'd be Kevin Hudson. There is not a better football fan or Mustang fan of all sports than Kevin. He was the founder and the inventor of the Red Chant. He has founded the Red Chant. So Kevin, come up. We're going to hear from Kevin now. Thanks, Kevin.
Well, I feel like I'm getting ready to do an auction, Regis. Well, I'm going to one-up you right here, Regis. In May, my wife Linda right here and I celebrated our 51st anniversary. As you know, we had $3. I didn't have a son to play for the Mustangs, but that didn't inhibit me in any way. Well, again, I want to thank the committee for putting this on and getting this over the goal line. I want to thank the Booster Club, Larry May and the Booster Club, for making a huge donation to put this thing on. Without talking football, in '85, we've got to go back to '84. To me, that's kind of where it started. That was the building block for the '85 deal. Talking about traditions, we needed to get red. We needed this town red. We needed the crowd red. So I bet before '84 started, we sold 2,000 red shirts. Where's Williams? Weta Hargrove? Okay, I think she sold a bunch of shirts. And anyway, we had to develop a crowd, WT. We had to have a sea of red. It was important. Nobody outcrowded us in '84 and '85. It didn't matter if it was home or away. We outcrowded everybody. I specifically think about the time, who remembers the first playoff game in about 15 or 20 years? We go to Jones Stadium in Lubbock to play Borger. Never forget it. The whole bottom half, I bet we had 5,000 or 6,000. Borger had 50. I'm a crowd counter at my auctions, and they had 50, so you know the outcome of that thing. And let's see, talking about red and what members. We got the red going. We got the honk rallies. The honk rallies going. Surely everybody remembers the Nomo Lobo. Monahan's going to San Angelo. Quarterfinals. It was the dangest thing. It's the biggest crowd I've ever seen in my life. It stretched all the way out to the Brooks Ranch going out that way. I remember it well because my horn stopped honking. I took it in Monday morning. You know, if you've got a car, you've got an F and a G note on your horn in your car, and I blew out the F note. So I'll always remember that right there. Now, before the 85 season started, guys, I took you for granted. I sure did. Whenever two-a-days started, David Maddox told me last night he was a brand new city manager here, and on a Thursday, Larry Upshaw came in and told him to close up. We're going. Where are we going? We're going to the scrimmage in Lubbock to scrimmage Dunbar. We scrimmaged them in Lubbock, didn't we? 11-0. And then the next week, I think we scrimmaged Big Spring right here. Is that correct? All right. And a normal football week for me, it was you went to Booster Club on Monday night, watched the film, watched whoever was coming up, and where's WT? WT, I tell you what, I sat back there and all of us chuckled. Every time the Pegasus, Fort Stocktons, and Lakeviews came up, we had to sit there and listen to you say how tough a game this is going to be. It's going to take a Herculean effort to beat these guys right there. I don't know how you kept a straight face, but you did. Right, guys? Right, guys. There wasn't any doubt. Get it real. It's Pecos. Good night. Then we get into the second round. We get into the playoffs again. We had already marked off when two-a-days started. The guys we'd already marked off. We knew was going to win. It just a matter how much was going to win. And we'd already marked up who we thought in Region 1. You got 3 games to get through Region 1 to get to the semis again. And we knew probably it'd be Monaghan's. Didn't know who was coming from the east. Really didn't know what Lubbock Estacada had. But we'd already plotted it out before the season started. So we were overconfident. I was overconfident. Enjoyed it. Then here we go again. 85, we go back up to Jones Stadium in Borger. And they changed up on us. They brought 75 and 85. You remember the play. You're going to remember the opening play from Borger. They ran a trick play and ran it down to about our 10 or 15. That's what I remember. We stuffed them, and of course, the rest is history. Then, Big Bad Cleveland. Where did we play at Arlington? Did we lose the flip, WT? Did we lose the flip? Cleveland in Arlington. That was like a home game for them. We lost the flip. Well, it didn't make any difference. They were highly ranked. Chuck Curtis? Chuck Curtis. Well, we had WT Stapler. So big deal. I remember the game. It was cold and foggy. Full house when it started. I think it was 30. What was the score at halftime? 30-0 is what I kind of remember. It was foggy. They kicked off the second half kickoff. We ran it back. Fog lifted. Nobody's over there. They're gone. They're gone. And then we get to Esty. I don't know where Monahans went in '85. We beat them, and they didn't make it just like I thought they might not. But we get back to Lowry Field in Estacada. We always had many a game with those guys, but we beat Lewis Kelly, and get ready to go down to Brownwood and Westlake again. Remember the Westlake deal, because the crowd, the line of cars going down there, I think we had Jim Blackley, if I remember right, wasn't he the sheriff back then? He pulled out in front of everybody, and there wasn't anybody between here and Brownwood that was going to pass us. He turned on his red light, they had to get back in line. They couldn't do anything, and I remember that well. Then when we get to Westlake, 2 things is what I remember. Remember sitting there, and here comes a helicopter. The Austin Area News is coming in, flying their people in, landing right behind over there on the visitor side. And then I remember looking out on the field, and the pep squad, the drill team, and the band, there was more than them. There's more them than there were Sweetwater people. But as you say, the rest is history. That was the penetration game. I nearly got in trouble that game. I used to carry my flag. fourth quarter or something, we got a bad call, or we got something, we went through it, 4th and 1, did something right now, I threw my flag down, and it bounced up, hit Jean Bates right in the head, and nearly knocked her out. They had to call security, had to call people to help her out. Thank goodness she was my neighbor where I live right beside her, so she didn't get too mad at me since we ended up going home. Then the final game in Fort Worth. What a convoy. 200 miles of solid red and everything going down the road. Like everybody always, like they said, they had the #1 quarterback, they had the #1 running back, and as we said, the rest is history. State championship. We came back, then we had a big celebration at the courthouse that night. Went and got the speaker, the old auction speaker system, brought it out. Remember WT speaking, and anyway, what memories. It was just great. Still, I see Lita. Where's Lita? I still see her and Oliver's sign. Where is Lita? You're still doing it this year. Count on you. Keep those balloons to yourself. If you don't know that story, she let the balloons go, I think, one game, and it knocked out all the lights. The sheriff was after her. But anyway, guys, you brought us a lot of memories. You brought us a lot of fun. Now, you cost us a lot of gasoline and mileage on these cars, but it's worth it. So anyway, y'all have a great time and go Red.
Stephen Hudson got the name Tank because we used to play basketball with the coaches, and businessmen played basketball with the coaches on Monday night, and he and Mike Levy would have the biggest collisions in the lane, and we called him Tank because they'd have these major collisions up there, so that was really fun. Sometimes in an organization, sometimes in a situation, you get the right person in the right place at the right time. We got W.T. Stapler just in the right place at the right time. Coach Stapler, come on up. Everybody wants to welcome you. Come on up. I believe, have you already had your 90th birthday, or is it coming? You'll be 90 on June 20th. Let's give him a hand. Coach, thank you. I'm going to pass this picture around for you. Look at this. Is a picture of the crowd at the state championship game at TCU Stadium. So I'll pass it around so you can see it. It was a huge crowd that day.
Sick of Mustangs. Hey, I made some notes here so I'd stay on task. Had I not made the notes, I'd be here till midnight and y'all be gone. So I did make some notes, and I'll try to stay with them and not keep you too long. Thank you, Rick, and for the introduction, all the work that you put in this. It's a big honor to me to be here. I consider Sweetwater my home. The greatest 6 years of my life were spent right here in this community with this group of people, with this kind of people, with these young men. And I'll tell you now, I don't know, I loved it. I keep up with you and come back when I get a chance. And thank you for having me here today. And thank all you people for coming and giving us opportunity to these young men and observe this nice plaque, nice monument over here. I want to thank the people that worked a lot of time, a lot of hours. It took over a year to get this thing planned. and Steve Freeman and David Welch and Dan McCoy and I met on different occasions trying to see, well, will it work? It was always my dream to put here at this stadium, a beautiful monument in the most beautiful stadium in the state. Put it here and a permanent type deal, so it would be here forever. And I wanted to have all the kids' names on it, the coaches' names on it, go as far as we could. And the planning committee took off in a lot of directions, a lot of emails and a lot of phone calls and what have you. I want to thank them. And Dan McCoy was big in this deal. Who knows anything about the headstones? He was able to get us hooked up with somebody that could produce a monument and do the engraving and what have you. I need to thank Karen Hunt and the chamber and the work they did. And I want to thank Dr. Parrish and the school board for letting us put this monument here. This is a beautiful stadium, not because we're here today. Just get your iPad and look up football stadium in Sweetwater, Texas, and you'll see what the people around the state think about it. But thank you again, Dr. Parrish. The reason that we're here is to honor the 1985 Mustang state champs. When you're coaching kids, the season ends and your seniors disappear and your players disappear, and in this case I disappeared. But anyway, I miss those guys. I drove them hard. We drove them. I never had a group of kids in my 40-something years of coaching work as hard through the grades as these guys did. I'm so proud of them. Anytime I can say I love you and you did a great job and say it before folks like you, I'm going to do it. To describe, let me back up a little bit. This time I'm outside. We came here in 1980 and met with all the kids and all the grades and trying to get them to buy into the program. Coming off of a season of one win. And 10 years at 123 games. And we're trying to get kids to buy into that. Just give us a chance. Try our program out. See what we got. And the big breakthrough the big breakthrough was winning it. But those kids that stepped out there on the field that year with a bunch of new coaches, and at one point was 6-1, they set the pattern that, hey, little Sweetwater can do it. We're not a bunch of losers. In fact, in one of the meetings that we had early on, one of the kids said, "Coach, are you sure you know what you're doing?" We're a bunch of losers. And the only thing I can think of to say was, son, you know what a winner looks like? It looks like you. Now let's go to work and hush up. These kiddos weren't big. We played teams that were huge. The Westlakes and the Tomballs and all that. So we had to make up, and we weren't the fastest people in the world. We had some real quick guys, but as far as just flat out speed, we didn't have speed. Now, we had players that chased down people that was faster than them. I don't know how they did it. But we were guys, I think you played the games in the fall. That's when you play the games, and that's when you win or lose them. The preparation you make from the end of one season to the next is when you win your game. And work, varsity work. And I know they thought I'd lost my ever-loving mind, but they worked. I don't know if you've heard of the infamous monkey bars or not, but we had some things that wasn't real easy to do. But there was turned up their nose at it, but they would work. And such fine kids, good citizens. You moms and dads did a good job raising these kids. And they were super. Here they are, older than I was when I won the state championship. Here they are here and now, and I'm calling them kids. So, bear with me. One of the really strong suits was how smart these kids were. I don't know how many of them that were eligible to be in the National Honor Society was in it. Every one of them, but I don't know what the number was. 22. You get in the playoffs, and we were playing on Saturday. You play on Saturday, win the game. The coaches went to church, go to church on Sunday morning, and we'd meet Sunday afternoon and set the game plan for the next team. Not every team runs the same offense and the same defense. So we'd get that set, go out on Monday in sweats and do a walkthrough, a teaching situation. And come back on Tuesday and put the pads on and go out and do sort of a little testing deal to see how much of the program, the game plan, they remembered. Well, they remembered it all. They were doggone smart. So the rest of the week was spent trying not to get anybody hurt. And, they would play wherever you asked them to play, and that's not always true of kids. I don't want to play this position, I don't want to play that one. They'd play what was best for the team, and they'd play both sides of the ball. Gosh, I had them playing offense, defense, kicking game, and about 3 positions on offense. Smart kids, dedicated kids. Just to sum it up, they were the best in the state. They won it all, and looky here. Look at what we got. I want to go back, and I told you I'd reminisce some here. Another big break. I call it a break. When I took the job in 1980, Sweetwater was down, and said, well, I've got to evaluate the staff, and I did. I kept some, and some of the coaches moved on. So I had to replace some people. And I started asking around the experienced guys around that was available. No, we're not going to Sweetwater. That's a bunch of losers. We're not going over there. So what did I end up with? A bunch of young puppies. You know, so much fun. So much fun. My thinking was, hey, if they love kids, if they truly love them, and they want to be there, and they want to put in the effort and time, what football they don't know, I can help them with, and we can go from there. To my surprise, these young guys love kids. They were great communicators. There was old Grouchy Bear me. We had to play good cop, bad cop. I was always a bad cop and them good cop, but that's the way I wanted it. I wanted them close to those kids. And I was fortunate in the staff that we put together. And again, the result is that state championship. I want to cover something. I keep starting to do it and I don't do it. There are so many things that I think of that I think was part of those kids, the attitude of those kids, the effort they put on the field, the fact that we started winning. I sat back especially after I retired, and looked at the effect that it had on the community. You know, we come in here and they've won one game the year before, you know, and it hadn't been a good 10 years, and I don't know the reason why. But that's what the situation was, and not many people showed up. We win a game 49-0, I think, the first game, and the crowd starts showing up. And we win another game and another game. The charter buses started showing up. And as Keevan said, the red shirts broke out. The red caps broke out. Red broke out all over the community. It was awesome to stand there with all that red behind you and them chanting red, red, red. It was wonderful. But in 1980, those of you who remember 1980, there was a big drought in Sweetwater. I mean, times weren't real good in Sweetwater in 1980. Doggone drought was on. There was discussions about where we're going to get water. You know, are we going to dispense? Are we going to drill wells? You know, what are we going to do? And arguments occurred and what have you, just an unsettled feeling. There was a building downtown, an old building, and there was a lot of discussion, argument about what we're going to do. You know, we're going to tear this down, we're going to, you know, on and on that went. When these teams started winning, all of a sudden, some of those things disappeared. People's attitude, their thinking, all their togetherness took over instead of any divisiveness that there was. So I give that program and those kids credit for helping this community. And then once the community got going, it's unbelievable, and I think the guys will back me up. It was unbelievable. We had an advantage. Every game we played, and I think somebody mentioned it here, we had an advantage. We had this whole community behind us. That Tomball game was unbelievable, in the Westlake game. So I don't know how to tie it all together, but the team pulled the community and the community pulled the team, and we got a state championship out of it. And I thank you, and I love all of you. I still consider this my home, and again, thank you for having me here. I do want to make mention of something that, and I think it needs to be said. After the 85 team, then there was a series of wins, big wins. Coach Ritchie and the coaches that followed did an excellent job. Today, we celebrate these young men and what they did, and we're going to celebrate them. But I want to give credit and appreciation to Coach Ritchie and those coaches that followed, and those young men that played. And I'd like to wish Coach Lucas an excellent coach. He may be having one of these up here one of these days. But that's all I got, and sick of Mustangs.
If you were a Mustang player, please raise your hand. Mustang player on this team, please raise your hand. We want y'all to come line up here. We're going to get you to come introduce yourselves here in just a second. And all the Mustang coaches, if you coached any of these players, we want you to line up right behind them. We're going to get you to come up and say what your name is and where you live now. So y'all come on up and get together up here. And a couple other housekeeping things here. A huge thank you today to Jeremy Dodd. Jeremy is over there taping this for us. He's recording this. And they'll let us know where we can get a copy of it to do that. I think he's live streaming it also, as a matter of fact. So, Jeremy, let's give Jeremy a hand. Jeremy, thank you so much. Appreciate you very much. Another person that was very instrumental in all this happening is no longer with us. He's up in heaven right now, but we want to give a special recognition to Dr. Drennan Daves as well. Let's give Dr. Drennan Daves a hand. He was so instrumental in all this. And then the last thing, I think it would be a really nice gesture on our part, whoever can, whoever has the means to do it, to make a donation to the Mustang Booster Club, because they kind of put the money up forward for this very beautiful monument here. Well, I think it'd be nice if whoever can would make a donation to the Mustang Booster Club. I would suggest just send it to the Chamber of Commerce, send it to Karen at the Chamber of Commerce, put Mustang Booster Club on it, and she'll get it to Larry May and the right people, Rodney Foster, and those that are involved in the Booster Club there. So players, we would like for you to come up and say your name, what number you were, what number were you on the Mustangs, and then where you live now, where you're living now. So Neil, we'll start out with Neil, and I'm going to ask you to hold your applause to the end. We want to go through pretty quick here. Hold your applause to the end, and then we're going to get y'all to come up. We're going to get some really good pictures made of y'all up here by the monument. So just say your name, your number, and please hold your applause to the end. Y'all come on up pretty quick, we'll do that.
Unfortunately, I've got to tell a little quick story, but you're dead wrong. We were never underdogs. We were never underdogs, were we? When nobody went through the workouts we went through, those bars, all those things. Nobody, I'm telling you. But one thing I remember is I showed up to Mustang Bowl in first grade, and I thought, man, this is a great place to play. But that team went 1-9. And I remember I went back and got my Roger Staubach white and blue ball, and I started throwing it against a tree And I did it, and I had a little NFL notebook, and I worked out from first grade on, knowing that we're going to do something. And we got to fifth grade. I don't know if y'all remember this, but we had some epic battles on the playground. I mean, epic. And it was just unbelievable. And then we had somebody move to town, and Michael Welch. And I knew immediately. As a matter of fact, I got a picture in the 7th grade that shows we had a big sign that says, "We're going to win state." And that was before Coach Stapler moved to town. So whether anybody knew it, we believed early on that we were going to do it. So there's our story. So, but great place to play. I mean, can't beat this place. So I'm Neil Hoover. I've lived in Sweetwater. I moved back here 25 years ago now. So appreciate it.
Good job.
Bud Aldridge, I was number 66. I live in Cleveland, Texas. I'm not used to it.
Oh, I got to tell one quick story. What you've heard Neil Hoover say, Coach Stapler say, is how they started in 8th grade. And sometimes people ask you, how does it feel because you reached your dreams? The truth is, we never dreamed it. We decided in the 8th grade, and all the way through, we were just disciplined about it. And this great coaching staff to help us stick on that path. So my name is Robert Bogues, but Bobby Bogues is what I was known as. And I was 64, and I am your center. In guard and defensive end.
Al Hunt, still here. In 1980, I got out of school, and Coach Stapler hired me, and these guys were in the 7th grade. Coach Stapler said we didn't play junior high football in the 7th grade. Y'all remember that? And we didn't play other teams. So we had 4 teams, 3 coaches, Coach Hines, Coach Gonzalez, and I, and 4 teams. We played down here on Saturday mornings, and those were some of the knockdown, drag-out ball games I'd ever been in. Creed, the 4 teams, Mustangs, Colts, Ponies, all that. So we had 4 teams and 3 coaches. Well, this is, some of you guys don't remember this. We're over there in practice one day, and I've got 2 teams on one end, so Coach Gonzalez and Coach Hines had the other 2 scrimmaging on the other end of the field. And all of a sudden I hear Coach Gonzalez just start screaming like crazy. They can't block anybody. They're trying to run offense. Hines has got the defense on the field. They're running through, knocking people down. I think he had, it was ugly because my group was down there trying to get practice in. And so finally I hear Gonzalez stop practice, and they line up, and Gonzalez is over there counting. He said, block this one, block this one, block this one. And all of a sudden they get to looking around, and Hines had 15 players on defense. And there was a reason why they couldn't get them. Y'all remember that? I mean, he's yelling and screaming, and Hines said, what's wrong with that? But anyway, when y'all were in the 7th grade, we knew something special was going to happen. I was fortunate enough that Coach moved me up to the high school when y'all started moving up, and I got to graduate with you, and so that was special. But it started in that 7th grade year, and that was something special. Still back home, Karen's the director. We've got 3 kids, Allison, Rachel, and Michael, and this is home. And we're glad to see all you guys. Y'all looking good. You probably could go another play, couldn't you? Creed said 3, and then we get the oxygen out.
I'm Warren Creed. I was offensive tackle, number 70, played some defensive ends, some other spots. Hoover made a speech. I didn't know we were supposed to do that, but it's really cool to see people still supporting us, all of us old guys. I mean, surely there's more to do in Sweetwater to come see us, but it's no, okay. Neil's got a tea time he's got to get to. But it is. It's really nice seeing everybody and you guys still supporting this and how much it meant to us. Just like with Neil going back, I remember playing on Saturdays up here. I remember I keep wanting to call Kyle Hooper Gooch, but Gooch tackling me down here so hard one day. I don't know how old we were, and it just brings back good memories. I do miss seeing the grass. I mean, the turf's pretty, but and one of the best memories of the grass, I think, Mary Jane Gleason's dad, I think it rained before a home game, and I tell people about this I work with in California that when we had a guy that would come hover over the football field in his helicopter and dry it out for us. So that's how serious football was here, and what a great place to grow up. Well, coming back to West Texas, and it's really neat seeing some of these familiar faces. So thank you guys for coming out.
Okay, so Chris Davis, I was number 12 rover and quarterback. Graduated, went off to college, and this is probably my first time back in the bowl in say 35 years, so it's really great to see all these guys again. Married into the Navy, been traveling all over, currently living in San Diego, and it's just really great to see you guys again.
I'm Bruce Bennell. Just a quick story. We were playing Monahans one day. It was a nasty field. It just got through raining. It was hot. It was sweaty. And we were actually losing, I think, at halftime. And we were going in the third quarter. And, you look over at Bobby and Bud and the rest of them. They said, we ain't losing this game. And that's kind of the mentality that we've taken our whole lives. We're not losing this game. I did 30 years in the Marine Corps. I got out of the CW05, but just a chicken farmer right now.
Danny Escobar, number 63, weak side linebacker. Real quick story. I'm sorry, but I have to. One of the things, and there's a lot of stories, believe me, but one of the stories, we're practicing, and so we're at practice, and we're going through our assignments, and Coach Stapler, who was an offensive guy, always stayed with the offense. Rarely did he come down with the defense. And Coach Springston was our defensive coordinator. Coach Hunt was linebackers coach. And so we're running the play. I did something I wasn't supposed to do according to Coach Stapler. He lets me know it. And so the whole time he's standing in front of me and he's telling me, he's correcting me, and I'm sitting there. Well, I did not. I just sit there. Okay. I look, just glance over his shoulder, and there's Coach Hunt behind him saying. So Coach Stapler walks back away. I walk up to Coach Hunt. I said, "What's up?" And he says, "Don't listen to him. Just do it the way we're telling you to do it." And so, yeah, love it. But love you guys. I am back in Sweetwater, working for TxDOT, been with them for 18 years. So I am home.
You gotta tell me.
Who's calling? I'm Israel Vera, number 51, defensive tackle, aka Tattoo. Anyways, I was saying, I'm from Sweetwater. I've been with the Sheriff's Office for 22 years. And enjoyed seeing everybody here today. Stick with Mustangs. I'm Earl Green. I was number 32. More like a practice dummy, but it was all fun. Just keep these guys riled up. I was a backup defensive back, and I worked 13.5 years at the highway department. Retired, and I got my own business here, just trimming trees and a lot of other different things. But good to see everybody.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you all for doing this for us. And oh my God, I'm Jody Walton. I was number 80, wide receiver, defensive back, kickoff team, kickoff return, punt. Sometimes we started out with Bobby, but Bobby kept kicking my head. They got somebody else. I think Coach put me everywhere. Never could find a good place for me, but I stuck around. I'm also back in Sweetwater. I'm fortunate enough to be able to come back and call this my home.
Hello, I'm Larry Heeler. I was number 14, and Miller talked about being a practice dummy. I didn't even get that far. I was so far down the depth chart, I don't think I played a meaningful down. Anyway, after getting out of school, going all over the country for different things, I've been back in the area. I live in Sweetwater now. I guess I've been back here about 6 years. So glad to be back. It's an interesting town to live in. Couldn't wait to get out of it. But as I've come back, I'm really excited to be here. It's really a great place to be if you're trying to raise
Mike Welch, number 30. You know, recognize me. I have a lot less hair and it's a lot less curly than it was. But my head is just spinning today as I reminisce and think about the team. You know, one thing I think about, and I'm glad you brought this up, Keevan, because we got an extra dose of, you know, I think we were so humble. You know, we never took anything for granted. We never overlooked anyone. I sometimes wish I'd enjoyed the journey a little bit more, but most of the time I was just sick to my stomach about to throw up before every game because coaches had us believing that this running back from Snyder was the second coming of John Riggins or somebody. So, I mean, if you're getting it at Booster Club, we were getting it times 10, but it kept us humble. We just kept fighting, winning one game after another, and pretty soon, in the immortal words of Coach Stapler at the end of our highlight video, he says, you know, there's no more film to watch, there's nobody else to play, and we're the state champs. I'll never forget that. But good to see you guys. Great to be here.
I'm Bobby Atkins, and I was your kicker. Usually a kicker gets kicked around a lot, and what was special with this team was there were so many touchdowns, all I had to do was just kick extra points. No doubt about it. I guess if I was to share anything today, just think back with memories. One of the things that we were able to capture with my mom and dad, they were able to go home, and the new thing in that day was a VCR. And they would hit the record button on all the television time that we're getting out of Athlete and all the playoffs. So about 4 years ago, we were able to put that up on YouTube. So you can go to YouTube and look it up, and it's all those interviews, which it's been a lot of fun. I think one of them with Blue, he said something or like they were asking him about it. He just kind of shook his head and he said, "We just whooped them." And there's so many great interviews through that whole role, but anyway, it's great to be here. It's sure enough appreciated. It's great to be a part of just so many winners. The teammates and our whole town, all the parents, everybody's behind us. So we love y'all and we appreciate everything. Thank y'all.
Okay, we're back. I was number 42. I was Rene Ortega, and my brother Ruben Ortega was number 62. And on behalf of him and myself, I would just like to say thank you for all of y'all coming out. And having a great time with all my teammates, young and old now, right? But we've all looked totally different now. We were young, we probably couldn't run very far anymore. But what I would like to say is, W.T. Stapler, I want to thank you because you have made our lives better. Because you taught us how to work hard. And we had a work ethic that nobody could compete with. And, you know, it's an emotional thing because we see our teammates now, and like I said, if it wasn't for W.T. Stapler, you know, the work ethic that he instilled on us, the workouts that we had. Y'all remember the monkey bars and the drills and everything we did, you know? And I remember him saying when he first came in, "Hey guys, I'm going to separate the men from the boys." And that was because he had a conditioning workouts on us that he said, fourth quarter comes around, nobody's going to compete with us. And by God, that's how it was. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you again, W.T. Stapler, and to all my teammates. It was wonderful.
I'm Ron Petty. I was a defensive end, number 50. I now live in Abilene. This is so nice. Everybody involved. From a different perspective, I coached for 20 years. And I was fortunate enough to work with some of these guys, these young pups, as Coach Stapler said. And it was awesome. Also, from the coaching perspective, you talk about being in the right place at the right time and how things fall. Workouts all season, you know, that we pushed our kids through at the various places. You know, we worked really hard, used the same kind of program. Things didn't work out. But at Sweetwater, it caught fire, and it was amazing. And once you coach and you've been a lot of different places, you realize how fortunate that we were. Some things were because things felt right. Some things were because you trusted the brother right beside you to do the right thing. And it was a very, very special time. And I want to thank everybody for being here.
John Riggs, number 61. I was defensive end. Probably the greatest thing that the coaches did for us was teach us that we push ourselves harder. You can always do more. You can always do better. And that stuck, I think, with all of us. And we did. We had a very big class. And it was all due to the fact that we had great parents who supported us, a great community. One of my favorite memories was the first playoff game in Lubbock. And we're coming around Roscoe, and you could happen to see, looking back, all there was just a line of cars. And they all had red, and it was just an awesome sight. We knew we were supported. So thank y'all very much.
I am Kyle Hooper, number 73, Gooch. Don't hear that very often, except when it comes to Sweetwater, and that's not very often. So it's good to hear it. I'm the product and the son of a coach. My dad never got to see me play, but there was a group of coaches here that basically turned into my alternate dad. It started in 7th grade, and I just watched my son finish up 7th grade and the impact that those coaches had on him. And I just think back to Coach Hines, Coach Gonzalez, and Coach Hunt. And I know it came down from Coach Stapler's how they worked us, and I appreciate all them. And one that's not here is Coach Levy. And he was a special man in my development, his wife there. And I loved him, and I miss him. And to this community, I live in Plano, and I go to some high school football games with nobody. It's like triple the size of Sweetwater. That was such an amazing experience to have the school that we had here. I love that. And the other thing is, was it called off the ball? Is that what you called it? That was the toughest competition I ever had. We'd put our number one offense against our number one defense, and we'd go to war.
First 2 minutes of every practice.
Yeah. And I guess it doesn't agree. You told us you didn't want to get us hurt. We got out there and worked, but I tell you, that's why we won it. Who was that? So, to all my coaches, to all my friends, to this community, thank you so much. I love you all.
Hello, Maurice Marshall, number 21, fullback. My journey actually started in 7th grade. I met all these guys. We came in, and we already made a decision right then that we were going to win the state championship our senior year. We made that decision back then. We dominated football, basketball, track. We dominated everything. So we made that decision right there, and we said we were going to win the state championship in 1985, and that's what we did. Thank you, Coach Stapler, for all that you instilled in us. We love you. We appreciate you for all the dedication, the hard work that we put in. Wonderful dude, man. It's a wonderful man. He helped me through some times that I really needed help. I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I'm Lee Morris. I was a tight end and punter on the team, number 86. Hey, Coach, I don't know if you remember about 10 years ago, I promised you a video, a DVD. Here it is. There you go. Hope you got a DVD. You got a DVD player, Coach. If not, come to my house. I'll show it to you. No, it's just like everybody else. That man right there, in the off-season program, there's not a day goes by that I still don't apply that principle to work ethic. Not only physical strength, which none of us are strong, it needs to be that mental strength. They pushed us to the line where we thought we were going to die. And then after that, 10 minutes later, hey, I'm not dead, caught a second wind, here we go. Right? Amen? All right. All the work ethic stuff, yeah, thank you for that. And another thing, I want to, before and after each game, we always said the Our Father. And I want to say right now, let's say the Our Father for Mike Levy. Our Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our bread, and forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory is yours now and forever. Amen. Now, and like I say, without all the blessings that they gave us back then, but now look back on and see. And I hope that all of y'all can look back on those and see the blessings that these guys gave us, our parents, our coaches. And I think as time goes by, our peers, we realize how much the love we had for one another back then. We may not have showed it all the time. With things going on here and there, that's all right. And I know I wasn't the best of friends, a bunch of y'all, but you guys will always have a special place in my heart. And so, with that said, I'm gonna let PG come on up here and talk. Come on. No. Come on.
I'm going to slide in here. I'm Shay Fields. I was an athletic trainer. I know you've been standing for a while, guys. We'll do knees on the tailgate and ankles on the truck next to that. Hey, I just want to thank you all. One of my special mentors was Rick Davis. Rick had 50 years in education as a trainer. Let's give him a big round of applause. So sometimes an unsung hero, but he kept the guys going, and for that we appreciate it. I've been in education 32 years, started my 33rd. I won't make 50, I can guarantee you that. But 19 of those have been as superintendent, 16 of those at Albany. And if you're still in the big country, you hear Albany's name kicked around a couple times during football season, basketball season, baseball season. But the tradition there was already started. But we continued it, and I had the opportunity to do that, and let me tell you why. After my second interview there, the board president calls me, and she says, I have the job. So we're having our little dialogue, and I said, what was the difference? She goes, you're from Sweetwater. And I said, well, what's that? What's the connection there? And she said, when I got home, I was talking to my husband, and giving him the rundown of the candidates. He goes, here's your man. She goes, why is that? He knows about winning. He knows about tradition, and he knows about pride, because he's from Sweetwater. And so that got me my first, that was my second job. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. I mean, none of you have changed one bit. Well, maybe slightly. But I appreciate the Mustang community here that gave us all a kickstart. And as all coaches, they have a superstition. And Coach Stapler had a superstition. Some kept your keys on Friday night. After Abilene High, after that loss, I kept the keys the rest of the season. So, anyway, thank you all.
Hello, I am Patrick Goodman. I was number 23, and I do not like doing this. I've been coaching for 30 years. I've been a head coach for 7 or 8, and it's still the same, and it happens at every bank. I do not like talking up here, but I'm here. But I just want to say there's one thing I've shared in the 30 years that I've been coaching, and I guess I started out, Coach Hunt gave me my first job. He's the one who got me into coaching. Took me to Georgetown, then he left me. I've forgiven him. He got me down there and stayed. He left after 1 year. Then I went to Brownwood with WT, and that was the greatest experience I ever had, because when he got me there, just getting to know him, not being Coach Stapler, and then now I guess I was a peer, but he's still Coach Stapler, because I was on his staff, and the stories and the things he used to do, Vegas trips, come back with a lot of money. He was good at that. The only reason I didn't stay is I told Freeman, coaching receivers in the wishbone, That's not fun. And not that first year in Brownwood because we weren't very good. So, and of course, I didn't stay for the building. I went back to Georgetown. I spent 11 years in Navasota. I had an opportunity to win 2 more state championships. And we won 2012, 2014. And believe me, that was an honor. I go back and I compare our 2012 team to our 1985 team. And statistically, it was about the same. All you have to do is score 1 touchdown a game, y'all scored. When you only give up 5.7 points a game, it's easy to do. Okay? But what I share with the kids all the time, I said, the one thing that I can tell you is the chemistry, how close we were as a group. And we started that in the 7th grade. And I remember Coach Hunt, Coach Hines, Coach Gonzalez was a coordinator. And I told them I was going to tell this. I never will forget, they left us in the weight room. It was attached to the building, to the classroom, 6th grade wing. And they leave us, we get any complaints from any teachers, we're going to bust every one of you, get out of the weight room. They already knew what was going to happen. They knew who the individuals were going to be. And it wasn't all of us, but to get out of that weight room and start in the 7th grade, every last one of us had to take SWATs to get out to go get dressed. I remember getting SWATs for not showering that first day. I think they just want to do it, but they instilled that in us from day one. I do remember that, and I remember being at the back with Michael. I think Neil was back there. Kyle, we thought Mike might get us out. Dad was assistant superintendent. Didn't help, didn't work. He had to take the same SWATs. But it was good. But I tell these guys about the closeness. They talked about the academics, and I tell them, I said, we were very smart. I'm one of those, if I say make B, I'll make a B. I'm not trying to make A's unless I just want to. But I had good GPA. But like I told them, I said, we were intelligent. And I look at where we were then and where we are now. And that's what I share with them. I look at the jobs that we've had, the careers we've had. And I mean, it's unbelievable. The things that we've done, how successful we've been. Starts with that coaching staff. You look at the coaching staff he put together when he got here, the ones that went on to be the head coach. I look at the group he put together in Brownwood. 8 or 9 of us went on to become head coaches. So he knows what he's doing when he's hiring. He always, like they said, he plays that downplay. They're not very good, da-da-da. Well, we already knew. If we always talk about it, if we knew how good we really were, how cocky we could have been out there on the football field, it would have been nice. Because when you play college ball, it's a different level. But that humbleness was there. I look at all the things, everyone here in the red and white, the Mustangs. I know it's Mustang strong, or Sweetwater strong now, but I just remember when we said everything rides on Mustang pride. And that we believed that and we meant that. The all-season that we had, Coach Friedman asked me to mention that. Guys, that all-season we had, it was an innovation that they started back in 1980 when he got here. And that carried over from Brownwood. You go down to Lido, they won it with 8, 9, 10, whatever championships they got. They run a version. You go to Austin, Westlake, they run a version. I mean, it's there. And here it is, 35, 36 years later. Because you grind. It is a work. You grind, you grind, you grind. But at the same time, I love these guys, and I promise you, I'm the guy that I kind of reach out to them. A couple of them don't like the FaceTime thing, but I do. So if I got a number, I'll FaceTime them. And, a couple of them don't like looking at the faces, but I enjoy it. That's why they invented it. But I wouldn't do it and wouldn't trade anything. Coach Hunt beat me in it. WT hired me. And the career I've had, 30 years of coaching. Last was AD head football, and I wouldn't do anything different, I promise you. But thank everybody here from Sweetwater. I see faces I hadn't seen in years right there. Of course, seeing Mrs. Levy was definitely good. So thank y'all, and I appreciate it. And I'm gonna pass it over to Coach Gonzalez, who started the swatting back in the day.
Well, I'm a Sweetwater kid in '74, but I came back to Sweetwater in '74 and started teaching and coaching at the junior high. And I had the 8th grade. I had these guys. Al Hunt and I would talk every day after workout. These guys are going to be state champs. I promise. We told them every time after workout. And then one day, we have a first ball game here at the bowl against Big Springs. Big Springs went with a one back or a shotgun or what do you want to call it. And we were in a 6-1 defense our first year. They had us 24-0 at halftime. We're coming to walk. down here and meet with the kids. And I looked up in the stands, here comes W.T. Stapler. I'm going, oh my God. He comes off there and he talks to me. He says, Coach, how smart are these kids? I said, Coach, these kids are smart. He said, okay, next year we're going to go to 4-3 defense. Who can you put out here in defense? Right now, they got 5 minutes to learn the defense. We set them out there. We came back, we beat Big Springs 25-24. And you talk about the way we did it. Maurice Marshall, big-toed Marshall, kicked a 27-yard field goal from the right hash mark, beat Big Springs 25-24. And that's how smart these kids were. But Coach Stapler knows that, you know. And I appreciate Coach Stapler. He told me one day, he said, "Hey, you want to move up to the high school?" I said, "No, sir, because every coach moves up to the high school, they get fired and they're gone." I said, "I'm a Sweetwater guy. My family's here," and I said, "I want to stay here." He said, "Okay, you want to be athletic director?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "All right, you're athletic director then." So I want to thank him for that. That made my pay raise a little bit higher, a lot higher. But these guys were something else. They were hard workers. And not only that, but these guys, I mean, they were smart, you know. And you talk about, we had nicknames for these guys, and I can't say some of them, but one is Mr. Morris. And he came to off-season in a cast. I said, "What happened to you?" He said, "Oh, my shoulder lamb kicked me and I broke my arm." I said, "A billy goat got you?" He said, "Oh, man." I said, "Billy goat got you." Well, that was his nickname until he graduated from high school, was Billy Goat. And of course, Mike Wells said, "Coach, you remember my nickname?" I said, "God, Mike, it's been so long, I can't remember." He said, "You call me Freckles all the time." I said, "Okay, I remember now." You know, but these guys were something else, you know, and not only were they smart, but they were good students, good kids, and now they're great men, you know, and I appreciate these guys. And another guy that I appreciate is also Rick Davis. You know, he was something else. He took care of these kids. He'd take them down, he took Cooper down somewhere a couple of times and got him going again. But he did wonders for the community in Sweetwater. And I can vouch for that because a couple of times my daughters got hurt. I would call Blaze on Sunday night. I say, "Blaze, one of my daughters is hurt. What can I do?" He said, "Bring them up to the field house. I'll take care of them." So anytime I needed something with my kids, he was there for me. So I want to say thank you to Rick Davis over there. And his wife, Patty, always been by his side, you know. So, but anyway, I just want to say thank you. Oh, one more thing. Husky Stapler called me and said, "We've got a guy who's handicapped. Would you mind having him coach with you?" I said, "No, I don't mind." Well, he was hard of hearing, and we're scrimmaging one day. We have an open day. We're scrimmaging. And he said, "Coach, you take the A team and I'll keep the B team. We'll scrimmage." I said, "Okay." So I'm calling my place, you know, and they're just killing us. Defense is killing us. And I called my bunch and I said, "Hey, these guys are the B team. What's going on? They're killing us." He said, "Coach, he's reading your lips." I said, "You serious?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay. Corre 38 para la derecha." I look over there, he's going, "You blowing smoke?" Thank you. Sickle Mustang.
Hi, my name is Thomas Hines, and everybody that know me, they call me Chick, and some state always call me Chick. I mean, and so one day he was telling about we were busting them in about everybody got busted, but they didn't tell you the whole story. The weight room was inside the building, so the teachers come back, they cut the light off, and they're flashing them in the building and lights and stuff. So she come back, "Hey, Coach, this kid's making too much noise." So I told them, I said, "Next time, y'all cut the lights off. I'm gonna bust every one of y'all." Mike, "Well, boy." Mike was first. I think that was the first time Mike got busted in his life. So I busted. I hit 23 of them, boys. I count 23. I busted everybody in the building. So, and then Coach Stapler said he always had my back. When I first got the job, we rolled him up in his car. He told me what he expected me and stuff like that. He always called me Tick. When I did that, he said, "Thomas Hines." I knew I was in trouble, didn't I?
I didn't coach anything. Unless you call coaching the coach. Maybe, no, not really. I'm Kathy Levy, and this is a special place. Y'all have heard that. We've been to a few different places, some called Mustangs, but this was such a special place for us. Mike passed about 4 years ago, and the one thing he said from the first day we got here was how special these people are, how awesome these young men are. And we've heard some things about GPA. Yeah, they were smart. They were all smart. They had different talents, different abilities. They were all outstanding. They got together. I mean, you've heard of peas and pod. I guess that's these guys. They were all such good guys, good families. I wasn't prepared for this, can you tell? He asked me to come up and do this. I have a big picture in our coach's office at home, and it's all about Sweetwater. And I wanted to bring it so bad, but I couldn't lift it. It's got, metal and the city declaration and so many things. This was a special place, and Mike reminded me of that all the time because we knew it was a special place. Ron, thank you very much for calling me and letting me know. And I debated a little bit because I didn't want to cry all day. But seeing all you guys just makes me smile. It brings back a part of our time here that is, he's happy right now. I'll just say that. And I thank you all very much.
All right, let's go get suited up and get ready for off season. Well, again, like Kathy, I wasn't prepared to talk, but I got a few things I could say. First of all, thanks to Coach Stapler for hiring me. He hired. I was actually his student teacher right out of college. Did my student teaching in the athletic department, and then he hired me to coach in middle school at Washington Middle School in Conroe. And after the first year, there was a job opening at the high school and coach freshmen. And I went to Stapler and told him I wanted that job. I want to put my name in the hat. He said, okay. He said, but we got other people that want to look at it too. And maybe a week later goes by, he calls me and I go down and he says, don't take this the wrong way, but you're not going to get that job. He says, but don't panic. He goes, I got something in store for you. Just be a little patient. I had no idea what he was talking about. And then I got word that he had resigned and going to Sweetwater. And before I could pick up the phone, he calls me. I want to go to Sweetwater. And I thought I was coming here to be a freshman coach. And he says, no, you're going to coach a secondary. I didn't tell him I didn't know anything about it, but I kind of winged it for a little bit. But I do appreciate that. Great memories. What he's really famous for, if you ever work with him, is if you don't get fired, you're not worth anything. Because I got fired so many times. Something would happen and some team would run off and make a score or make a first down. He'd walk by, just, you're fired. And I took it as a compliment, really, to tell you the truth. But the best was at the state championship game. His second half, and we were running. What's my secondary players at here? What were we running? Anybody remember? Huh? The dog coverage. Stapler came up to me and says, if you get out of dog coverage, you're fired. He says, stay in it the rest of the game. So anyway, it was something else. So
I appreciate you, WT. I know this is about all of us, but you're the man that got everything started. And we love you, we appreciate you, and thanks for everything you did for us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the nice weather out here today. Coach Staples, myself, and Sweetwater, thank you. Can you read my lips? I said, myself, everybody, the players and coaches, thank you. I thank Coach Staples for hiring me in 1984, and I think Coach Gonzalez taught me a lot of things the way I feel. And Coach Hines been a fantastic friend. I'd like to name everybody here. Look, Davis, you're the man. You have helped and fixed up those football players and get them ready for ball games. I can say so many things about Sweetwater. I'm so thankful. I'm still here in Sweetwater. I don't want to go anywhere. I'll visit my grandkids, my kids, my brothers. But let me tell you one story I'll never forget. Cousin Doris and I was guarding tomball in Houston. And we have a system that we work together with offense and defense. I might not hear very well, but I can pick up things and Cousin Doris can write it down. And we have, okay, I would say we had a lot of good time scouting all those places, Boulder, Cleveland, Lubbock, Chicago, Waco, then finally in Houston, when Sweetwater was playing Westlake at Brentwood. There was 4 of us together scouting. 2 of us scouted Tomball, me and Coach. The other 2 scouted the other, I think it was New Braunfels. So I said, Westlake had 8 coaches scouting. Look like, who am I talking to? Oh, Sweetwater. Okay, well, I'll find out later. Cousin Doris could hear what they were talking about. Being cocky, being boastful, looking down at us. Cousin Doris told me about it later. I was trying to concentrate on them. Okay, back and forth ball game in Glenwood. Westlake coaches used to pay phone, come up and tell, hey, Westlake, if they have 21-14, y'all get ready to have a state trip home. I didn't hear them say that, but Cousin Doris told me about it. Now, that kind of good. I had one of Coach Danny Lee went down to call. Then he runs up the steps in the press box and said, hey, Sweetwater was the score. But Anthony Norman 12-year throwback and beat him, and we're ahead on penetration. 3 minutes later, 8 Westlake coaches took off, went down. I've never seen faces out there after they called him. Okay, anyway. So after the game, Sweetwater wanted penetration coaches said, I think, yeah. The players worked hard for 6 years, especially the tail, workout, marches, and all that. And we were leaving the area, Tomball, Sweetwater. Are we playing Sweetwater? They sit down. They thought they were the All-American play quarterback and passes. All-American running back, public reading, 2,700 yards rushing. Oh my God. Okay. Mr. Escobar. Wow, you got after and passes many times. Sweetwater sacked him 8 times. Michael Lell, you got 3 interceptions. Out of Sweetwater had 4 altogether. Michael, he stole 3 passes. Sweetwater intercepted 4 times. The quarterback only completed 3 passes. Boy, that was a fun day, guys. Someone helped the town hall get Coach Dallas to, but wow, I knew Coach Stapler is clever to fall. He's clever. He's something twisted up in his sleeve. And Coach Blinken, genius. Like chemistry professor. Big and God. Wow. I'm thankful for many of us, for these good old folks who are here. Thank you. God bless.
Okay, I'll keep this short. My name is Ed Callett. I live over about 35 miles east of here in Abilene. And first of all, I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here at one of Sweetwater's greatest times in 1985. Most of all, though, I'd like to thank all you young men, young to me, and what you did. I've never been around a group so focused with a mindset to accomplish something as this. And I coached for over 40 years, and it still amazes me a group of people having a singleness of mind to get something done. And I think more than anything else, that's what carried you guys to the top. Next, I want to tell you how proud I am to be here today. I look at you, I see what kind of men you've grown into. Family men, successful people, and more than anything else, and maybe more important than the state championship, believe it or not, what a coach turns out is hopefully successful men as we go on. And as I look about it, I couldn't be prouder of how successful most all of you have been, and your love and loyalty for Sweetwater and for each other. So one more time, about 30-something years ago, congratulations, fellas, you did a great job.
Okay, if you would get your cameras ready, we're going to get some really good picture opportunities. Well, all the players and coaches to come up, stand by the monument here. While they're doing that, I want to say one last thank you to the Sweetwater community. The outcome that you have of investing in these young student athletes and the students at Sweetwater High School is just this. They're all husbands and fathers, businessmen now, and all. Rick, sure, yeah, sure.
Thank y'all for coming. I would like to just take a minute. Rick's not able to talk, but first of all, this is an outstanding situation. It's even more for Rick and I because Rick and I got married in 1985. And if it had not been for these guys, we would have probably not got married. I'm going to make this short. Lee Morris, his mother, gave him a hamburger FFA ticket. Said, you give this to Blades. He needs to go eat. Everybody else gets to eat but Blades. So Rick had never been to any of the dinners. I grew up here, was an athlete here, and boy did I understand how important, I have to say this, how a trainer is. We never had them. When I played sports here, a girl could only play one sport. So you had to choose. So a trainer is important, but a trainer's wife is important. But I was going to bring Rick something. He goes, no, Lee Morris brought me a ticket, and I don't want to hear Miss Morris chew me out. So I'm going to go grab something. Well, if you know Rick Blades Davis, he eats fast all the time, still does. And so I was to be in Midley. God had given me the opportunity. I was fixing to move. And another coach in Sweetwater called me and said, I need to talk to you. You've got to come by. I said, well, I'm leaving. I've got a job in Midland. He said, no, you're not. You got to come see me and my wife and the girls. I refereed for 15 years. That's all I've known is sports. So I stopped by and saw Charles McClain. He was a basketball coach. He said, you're not leaving Sweetwater. And I said, yes, I am. And he said, no, you're not. He said, I want to offer you a job. So he offered me a job, thought about it, and I took it. Well, Rick was up at the cafeteria eating. I walked in there to get my neighbors their supper. I sold tickets here at this bar. I had to hurry because I was a ticket seller too. And I love football. So I ran in there and John Riggs' mom and dad walked in. She was talking to me about was I going to coach softball and was my team, I've been to national with my team and I'd umpired and all this. And Rick was back there in the corner just swallowing that hamburger going 90-0. And I walked back there and he spoke to me because we had met and I said, good luck. We were playing Monahans that night. And if you remember at halftime, we were behind, but we won. But Rick was back there eating real fast, and I wished him luck. And Gwen Riggs walked by, and she said, Patty, you going to umpire? And I said, yes, but I'm going to umpire at the state level this year, too. And so Rick was eating a hamburger real quick, and he said, how many children do you have? He thought I coached. I had children playing softball. I said, none. And he had the biggest hunk of hamburger in his mouth. And he said, you are married, aren't you? And I said, no. He got choked. And I thought, I didn't know if he was going to be able to get a choke, but he did. So we won that night. The next morning at 11 o'clock, he was always at the field house. He was single. We both were. I was single. My phone rang. I said, hello. He said, started talking, and I thought, what's he calling me for? So he called me, and we started dating. And I didn't date anybody, he didn't, and we got married in June of 1985. So becoming a trainer's wife was new to me, but not sports. So I've got to tell this. My first encounter, my doorbell, ding, 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 and I thought, what in the world? It was the Petty Boys. It was during the summer. They were up here playing baseball. They had a tournament. And I said, what's wrong? Oh, we're bleeding. I don't remember which one was bleeding. But Rick and I had just gotten into our house. And of course, we were on our honeymoon for 4 days. 4 days. That's all I got. I got to get back for 2 days. I got to get back. Coach Stapler's waiting on me. I said, okay. So anyway, the Petty Boys are at the front, and I go, is Blades here? And I said, he should be coming in a minute. So here he comes in, and one of them was bleeding, and one of them had gotten cleated up at the baseball park. Rick come in, and I had gotten them into house. Then you could bring kids into your house without no problem. And anyway, he said, we're going to the field house. Let's go. I'll get you taken care of there. Well, he turned around and looked. There was a big pool of blood right in the middle of my carpet. I said, oh, it's okay. My life was like that. From the time I met Rick to the present. 50 years this last year, he finally retired. And I'll be honest, he doesn't know what to do from day to day because it's been in his blood. But we want to thank you as a community. You welcomed me and him, the 85 team, but not only, but the coaching staff. I could write a book, and I think I might, of all the fun times that we had. I had somebody ask, Ann Springston asked about my mom, to tell you how important this community is. Rick and I talked, and the one thing he told me, on the day I die, I don't want you to, or the day I'm married, whatever, I don't want you to talk about me. I want you to talk about what people need to do. And that is to care for more people, put out for more people, be a part of their lives. And this group, yes, every group we've been have been special, but this group was special. My mom was one of 11 kids. And during the year of '84, we went to the semifinals. We was important, but started off, and Mother goes, what are the coach's wife doing with the kids when y'all go travel all the way to Fort Stockton and all the way to Pecos? And I said, well, I guess we're going to take them. And she said, well, why don't I just babysit the kids? Why don't I just have a slumber party for them? Well, wherever we want. And that's what my mother did. Okay. And on the nights that we did that, my mother would keep all the coaches' kids and we would travel. There are a lot of fun stories there. Like I said, we could write a book. But I was welcomed into the staff. I was a trainer's wife, but it didn't matter. I remember when Rick proposed to me, I asked Coach Stapler, I call him T. I asked him one time, I said, T, why didn't you ask him to come to Sweetwater? Rick was the first athletic trainer in the Arlington school system. And I'm going to make this short, but Rick and I have had the opportunity and very privileged. We know a lot of professional people, players. From Troy Aikman to, I can name them all. Rick worked for the Texas Rangers. He had the opportunity to go. We had the opportunity on 3 separate occasions to go to professional teams. And everybody thought we stayed here because of me. He has the last word. He said, I don't want to leave Sweetwater. I said, okay. And I don't know if y'all remember, but back in the days, we had a basketball game up here that Rick and I were very fortunate. I made one phone call. The Dallas Cowboys come and play basketball here for a fundraiser. All of them come. All I did was call and say, do you want to come to Sweetwater? Oh yeah, that's where y'all won the state championship. Yes, we'll be there, whatever you need, Miss Blades. We got the Texas Rangers. Whatever we needed, we got. Wherever Rick and I go, when we went to the Dallas Cowboys, it's still, there's nothing anymore in these professional teams. There's nothing that means anymore to be in this boat. And we've had the opportunity from all the sports to tell us that. And y'all, there are stories with Rick. At the UTA game at Cleveland, yes, it was cold and rainy. Nobody knows what happened on the side. The UTA athletic director, after we were here a few years, he became that. He was the trainer. Cleveland was complaining because of the field. So the UTA trainer come over and told Rick, I got enough shoes for all of your team. Do y'all want to change cleats? Do y'all have a problem? Rick goes, no, we'll stay with what we're doing. There's a lot of times that there's stories that on the back that people never hear. But one thing with Coach Stapler, I remember from being an athlete, and this is the thing I remember about this team. I was at WT and Betty's house, Rick and I were. And Coach Stapler, on the little table in the kitchen, he had little pieces of paper. And being a big fan of football, I've always been a fan. But when I played sports here, our volleyball team played in the spring, and the football course was in the fall. So we had to make a deal with the football coaches to drive our school buses to take us to the games. If I would be at the field house at 5:30 every morning, go through all the film, I do scouting reports and everything. And until 5 years ago, I still do scouting reports for teams, from basketball to football, but football. But Coach Stapler had all your names on a piece of paper on the table. I don't know if T remembers it, but I was sitting there looking at it, and I said, well, Coach, what you think for this year? And WP said, I think I got them in the right spot, Patty. I picked them up and I looked at them. The thing with Coach Stapler was, all his years, Rick and I followed him even after he left here, was he took his players and he put them in their positions to where they excelled. And with this team, this is exactly what happened. If you look back at all the film and you look at everything, you will see they were smart, yes. Except during other times of the year, my phone, and I have to tell this story. My phone rang right after, and I said, Rick, you need to get on the phone. He said, what's wrong? We'd had ice and snow, and the boys wanted to get out and be in the snow. Well, they didn't realize that it was during football season. So they took a hood of a pickup truck, flipped it over, tied it on to something, and they were going around, and they uprooted, I think, about 15 mailboxes that day. So Rick met them at the field house. I said, how bad are they hurt? He goes, I don't know. And Rick, first thing Rick said, have you told your parents? No. Rick goes, okay, meet me at the field house. So Rick and I had the opportunity, Rick got them fixed up, that we have been a part of their lives here. But I also want to tell you, we still follow them. We've been a part of their lives with their families and everything. And as being a part of the staff, Rick wants to tell you again, you parents, it means a lot because you have raised good children. You've done the techniques with them. They are good parents, but they're good people. And I think that's the most important thing that Rick wanted to iterate today because he's involved in all the sports, from the girls, the boys, and everything. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate you as a community and being a part of this. There's just not enough words. And thank you, Rick, for coming back.
Here we go, guys. Look this way. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Here we go.
I do. Let's get one with just players and one with just coaches. Just players. Let's do just coaches first. Let's do just coaches first. Rick, you stay here. Players, don't move out of the way. Just coaches. Just let's get players. Coaches, let's go. We're going just some players up here. Thank you.
Y'all had a good chicken. We never got our steak. I'm just saying.
I said, I'm going, are you? Where's my mic on? Like with the boys. You guys all have such a group there for so many years. No, I don't even know what's in yeah, is that chicken? She said she saw that coming in or something like that. I'm game. Works out good.
I started the song.
Where is that? Okay, that's